everyone, welcome back or welcome to That's Some Idea. I'm Erica. If you're returning, hey. If you are new, stick around, hit the subscribe button, come hang out. I'm super excited this week. I have been saying in some of my previous videos that the first week of April I wanted to do Garden Week, and I'm starting that now. I am going to be showing you some of the things that I have been collecting from Dollar Tree as well as some other places for my fairy garden as well as my rock garden. I'm not your typical gardening person. I like to build more sort of whimsical scenes in my landscaping and gardening areas in my back patio. And so I'm going to be sharing some of those things that I've been collecting this week with you all, and would love to hear your thoughts on some of the pieces I've collected and what you would do with them. I'm going to start today with pieces that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'll start with some of the larger pieces that I've collected and then move on into some of the smaller pieces, as well as some of the garden stakes that I'll be placing strategically in my fairy garden and then sort of around the landscaping around my house. So without further ado, let's get into this haul. I am actually going to come off camera for the rest of the haul. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to show you all the pieces as they are kind of small. We're going to get down to kind of see the pieces instead of me holding them up in front of the camera. We're going to kind of, do sort of a pan into them and see them all, because there's a lot of detail that I want you to see and just how cute some of these pieces are. So without further ado, let's get into this haul. I did end up purchasing these 7 pieces over here from dollartree.com. I will say, unfortunately, little note, I had to buy the boxes of the larger pieces, which I wasn't upset about, really. I think these pieces were 8 to the box, as well as I believe these larger, taller pieces were 8 to the box. So when I received both boxes, I was so excited. I began to open them, and unfortunately, I lost several of the sort of mushroom fairy houses that you can see here, and some of these larger, garden characters, because they didn't have any styrofoam around them. And when the boxes were getting placed on like FedEx or UPS shipping trucks, they were getting jolted around. These are made of acrylic, and the bottoms and the inside are hollow. So when they were getting jostled around in the delivery trucks, unfortunately, the bottoms on a lot of the pieces exploded and broke into multiple pieces. I had a really cool acrylic mushroom that split in half that I couldn't save. I had another one of these cute little hedgehogs that lost both his legs that I couldn't save. And several of these, the bottoms were just completely shattered apart. So I was a little disappointed. I saved what I could. I ended up, this guy, his top part came off completely, and I was able to E6000 him back together because it was just the top part that sort of made a clean half, broken in half, clean cut. I did manage to save all of the sort of grass hut houses. I have 2 more of those. And I have 1 more of the turtle and 1 more of the cute little garden gnome. But that was kind of disappointing. Dollar Tree did refund me for the pieces that broke in the box. But I have enough still to make a really cool garden this year, so I'm excited. So as I mentioned, I did have 1 more of those. I do have 1 more of these. And I have another one of these and another one of those cute hobbit houses, as you can see, with their little cute hobbit doors. So those are going to go outside in my fairy garden. These I did pick up from the store. These were $1.25, and I thought those would be super cute. Those are stepping stones to go into the garden. Next up, I will show you some of the smaller pieces that are going to go into potted plants, as well as smaller pieces that'll kind of go into the garden as well. Okay, so I've moved my camera off my tripod because I'm just going to kind of lean over and zoom in and just kind of show you all of these little houses because they are so stinking cute. To be honest, this is going to be a project with my daughter, my oldest, to figure out kind of where we're going to put everything, whether we're going to put them in the flower beds or whether they're going to go, in the actual area that we make our fairy garden. It's in our backyard, and it sort of is like a little alcove that I do florals in. So it's going to depend on kind of how she wants to set this up, but I will start to go through the various sets. There were so many sets this year. It was overwhelming, but at the same time, I think I just got a little too excited and just decided, you know what? We're going to figure this out, and, whatever we don't use this year, we'll save for next year, because obviously, with these smaller pieces, if they're getting hit by the sun and the rain, they're going to get discolored, and they may eventually break down, and that's okay. They're really an outdoor kind of cute thing to do. So I did go with a lot of the sets just to see kind of, what my daughter wanted to do. I did grab all of the sort of mushrooms. These aren't houses or anything. These are just more sort of clay-like material, and they're heavy, which I thought was great. These are okay if they're out in the weather. They're not going to have too much damage, maybe some discoloration, but I did grab all 4 of those. And then you can see, Dollar Tree tends to do things in 4, but some of these sets were greater than 4, which I found really interesting. You can see, all of the different fairy houses. There were so many colors and just so many different styles that I just got so excited to see all of them. Like that one has a vine going up it. And then the various like thatched roof houses, I thought those were new this year. They were super cute. They stood out to me, kind of like old Mother Hubbard in the shoe. But you can kind of see, their colors and their different styles of roofs. Let's go back there with that little one. And then this one's more of like a cottage style. And over here as well, more of like a woodland cottage style, maybe more village-like with this one. And then the Hobbit house was super cute. And then they had more of the fairy floral houses. Again, more than 4 to the set, but I am, not mad about it at all. You can see this one says, welcome. Cute little pink one with the ladybug, the detail, as well as this one with the multiple little flower heads on top of the roof, the little yellow one back there, and the succulent one is just, this is my absolute favorite out of the floral ones, and this pretty little pink one back here. And I love how they kind of did, like, it looks like, there's protection over the door if it rains with the little, flower hanging over. I thought that was super cute. The detail was just insane. And then some things that are going to go kind of around my potted plants were these doors. I got all of them because I do have some larger potted plants that go in my backyard that I can stick these sort of like, in between the pot and the water drainage bucket that they go on, so they kind of stick and stay and look really cute. I'm still on the hunt. I know there were windows, and I believe they were in, I'll bring my camera over here. I believe they were in these sets. So if I am able to find them, I might get windows so that I can glue them onto the pots and make the whole pot look like a house. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I just loved all of the different doors. Believe, dream. I don't know if this one had anything on it. This actually is almost more like a window rather than a door. And then this one over here that says home on it. Just super cute. And the last couple of things I bought in the miniature stuff were a lot of the different accessories. I couldn't get over how many accessories they did this year. And they're larger than normal. There were, you know, some of the smaller of fairies and gnomes that you could definitely place onto, like the chairs and the tables here. The butterflies just took me out. I just can't. The butterfly chairs. As well as a little pond. You know, you could do a walkway in one of these houses. This sweet little fairy in front of a well. As well as another little mini hedgehog. I know I just showed I had the bigger hedgehog, but he is just so cute with his little mushroom. And then more chairs. This little table to die for. The little gnome riding the turtle. And more chairs. This little fountain. Another little bird fountain. And this sweet little gnome couple sitting on a branch. I just could not. This is going to be such a fun year for the fairy garden. I know my daughter and I are just going to have so much fun. Let me back up and pan out so you can kind of see the full collection. Again, they did a lot more this year than I've seen them do in previous years. And there were just so many to pick from. And they just normally do multiples of 4. But this year they did more than multiple 4s. I'm not mad about it at all. So stinking cute. Okay, and then the final part to this video, I'm going to show you several of the garden stakes that I got that I'll be kind of hanging around or sort of inserting, you know, into the background so it kind of looks like, you know, a fairy world with flowers and mushrooms that are taller. So let's do that next. Okay, so the last thing that I'm sort of doing in my fairy garden are garden stakes. And a lot of these are probably going to be placed, you know, along the back wall of my house where my patio is. And some of them are going to go, you know, into the fairy garden. I'm first going to start with the ones that were from the 5+ section. And as you can see, they are larger and they are beautiful. You can see kind of like the bluebells over here, and then more of, you know, these sort of hanging flowers. This one has bells in it, and then another gold one, kind of like the bluebells that you saw over here. So these 4 were from the $5 section. And then moving up, we go back into the $1.25. And to be quite honest with you, the fact that these flowers are gorgeous and they were $1.25 is insane. They're just so well made. They're so well painted. They're just gorgeous. You could see all of the different colors and just the different makes of the flowers. I just thought those were so well done. And then also super cute and new this year were the mushroom garden stakes. You cannot go wrong with a mushroom garden stake in a fairy garden. I grabbed all the ones that I saw. I don't think there's any more to this set. And again, you know, we usually get Dollar Tree in sets of 4. But this time around, there were more than 4 in the set, and I'm not mad about it at all. So those were the various colors again. And then coming up to the top, I grabbed 2 signs. I grabbed the welcome sign with the mushrooms, and then I grabbed the sign that says, "The garden is my happy place." And I am probably going to do a DIY with "The garden is my happy place," and I'm going to put it up on my shorts, sort of to create a faux garden gate using products from the Dollar Tree and putting that into my fairy garden. So stay tuned for that. But I thought those signs were great. I have also, you know, over the years in my stash have collected the hook,
garden stakes that are very much like these with the 2-prong at the bottom, and then they're black and they come over and hook so you can hang something like a wind chime or something like that, or a little lantern on it. So I have those in my stash to definitely use for that little welcome sign with the mushrooms on it. So that is everything for this round that I got at the Dollar Tree for my fairy garden. Let me just pan back out so you can see everything. I'm still shocked about those metallic flowers. The fact that those are $1.25 is insane. And then the beautiful $5 stakes. You just can't go wrong. We're gonna have so much fun this year, and I'll be sure to show pictures and videos of what the fairy garden turns out to be. That is all for today. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching and hanging out. Again, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Come back and hang out longer. The next video I'm going to do is a haul for my rock garden, and then a few more items for my fairy garden that I got from Temu. So stick around this week for that one, and I'll hope to see you on the next go around.